Welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. Pull up a chair and kick up your feet as you get ready to enjoy some of the industry's most entertaining and actionable Dynasty content on the planet. We're talking veterans, rookies, sleepers, and oh yeah, you know the crew has those dad jokes ready for you. So let's not wait any longer and bring on the host or some combination of Doug, James, and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It is officially our first podcast of 2024. We're ringing in the new year in style. We are going to be talking about New Year's resolutions on this episode, as well as covering some league news. But before we do that, I want to make sure if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, whatever you're watching it, awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you go on our YouTube channel. It's Dynasty Happy Hour. Like and hit that subscribe button down below. That's what the cool kids do. I don't even know if there's a button down below, but whatever. We're going to roll with it. The Christmas season is over. New Year's is over. I know us dads in the room are probably like, thank God, right? Right, Tyler and James? Are we glad we're past it?
Just another year.
Yeah, rolling right along.
It's like when you have a playlist or a CD you're listening to on Spotify, and you just have the loop.
You have a CD on Spotify? How does that work?
Yes, I actually downloaded it to Napster.
You have a CD
and
player?
then I downloaded to Napster, and then I put it onto my playlist. I had to put the artwork like old school iTunes you had to do back in the day. Everybody, us old people remember that, where you had to download it and then put it onto your iTunes, and then you had to find the art for the album and then drag it onto the iTunes.
What do you mean? I used to just draw the album covers free.
I mean, I'll go way
figures.
past that and say I used to record Hot 97 as
on the
a
radio.
kid on the radio. Like
you put the little
10.
Scotch tape over the top notches of the cassette, and you can record over it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you know that,
That's
Tyler?
old.
That was the
no,
thing.
that is old.
Oh yeah,
Old school, man.
We're going way back.
Way back.
But we were off last week for the holiday. I am happy to be back. Raise your hand if you won a championship or here and there. Let's go. Tyler, I beat you in bragging rights best ball, by the way. Thanks for acknowledging.
But you know what? As long as we took
I
down
kicked
the
your
bot,
ass.
as long as we took down the bot, yes, we have 5 teams, and it's a 6-team league. One's a bot.
The bot won the first league, the first year the bot won.
You weren't supposed to say that out loud.
That's
We
fine.
weren't supposed to mention that.
It's okay.
I am
happens.
forever
The
the
bot got
last
lucky.
place person in that league.
The bot
2
got
years
lucky.
running, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took the bot down, or Tyler took the bot down last week, and then I took Tyler down this week. I had a big week, so that was nice.
I did take down the MFL Listener League.
Very
So,
nice.
Nicely done.
2 years straight. So that one's always fun to win because Jason and Clint and everybody in there. We got a good group of 14 people. Usually listener leagues, they fall off, or you have
that's a fun league.
5 people that don't really pay attention too much. But this one, everybody really pays attention a good amount.
They let me get
My
Zay
team
Flowers
is
at 111,
trash.
so I was happy.
Yeah. What idiots? No.
Stupid.
I adopted this orphan out of nowhere. It was like if Thanos and the devil had a baby.
I have now officially turned a couple of orphans that I've took over into championship teams, which is always a little bit sweeter when you take over an orphan and then you turn it around and you make it a championship team is nice. So that always gives you a little extra juice, which is always fun. So yeah,
and I did jinx you. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, for sure you jinxed me.
Doug was up by like 170, and I said, "Hey."
No, I wasn't up that. Well, I was up a lot.
I'm like, "Hey, at least I don't need to ship the belt," and he lost by 10.
Yeah, and I immediately texted Tyler and I said, "It's not your matchup. Shut your damn mouth." And then all of a sudden, guess what happened? Came storming back, and I lost. So thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, you just got.
Appreciate you.
So that's probably like the.
I laid the good juju down for Doug early on, and Tyler took Thor's hammer. And I've been watching.
If you take
too much
those Elijah
Marvel
Mitchell
Marathon.
points that were scored and put them onto Christian McCaffrey, I would have won.
Yeah, he got banged up a little bit, didn't
Wow, you should just get rid of Christian McCaffrey, right?
Yeah, I should probably just cut him for being.
Yeah.
he? I'll give you
someone
Raheem
third.
Mostert for Christian McCaffrey.
That sounds pretty even. Let's do that. All right, let's get into the podcast. Lots of good things to cover. And the first thing I want to cover very quickly is our lovely sponsor, Underdog. The season is over almost. You can still play Week 18. If you have championship week in Week 18, leave that league immediately, please. It's a sham. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's my little sidebar. But you can play DFS at week 18 and preseason are a couple of my favorite times to play DFS because just wild stuff happens. Like players that you would never think of putting in a lineup, you can put in there and have fun with it. Insert X quarterback here because there's been 80 different starters this year.
Well, that's all year. I mean,
yeah. But week 18 is a lot of fun. You can still join Underdog when you use code DHH. They'll match up to $100 right away. Put it into your bank account. The good news is football season's over. You can still do playoffs as well. But you can do NBA, you can do hockey. Once baseball rolls around, Dodgers spending $1 billion, whatever. You can do baseball on there as well. All sorts of different fun ways to play. You can do cross matchups with different parlays. It's a ton of fun. So check out underdog.com. Use code DHH. Get that $100 matched right away. All right, let's get into some news. We've got some stuff here. It looks like azcardinals.com. That's an actual website.
Reliable source.
Yes.
It's actually .net.
.net. I got it. I believe it's powered by Lycos last time I checked. Darren Urban reports the Cardinals plan to stick with Kyler Murray for the 2024 season. The Cardinals have locked up one of the top picks in the 2024 NFL draft. They're going to pick in the top 5. Obviously, their big upset win knocked them from 2 potentially down a little bit. There are questions about whether the team would stick with Murray or look for another quarterback, either a Drake May, a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, whomever. Jonathan Gannon put that to rest, quotation fingers, when he said, according to Urban, number 1 is our franchise quarterback. Now, to me, that's coach speak. Things can happen. They can fall in love. Let's say they have the 2nd pick and they fall in love with Drake May and they get a huge return for Kyler. Things can change, but as of right now, it looks like they're going to stick with Kyler. Don't think we need to go too much on that. In a not surprising move, the New York Jets have released running back, former great Go Noles, Dalvin Cook, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. According to Pelissero, this was a mutual decision because Cook wasn't touching the ball. So he could look for an opportunity to play for a playoff team this year. Who's going to want him? As part of the deal, Cook is restructuring his current deal, that will forfeit all remaining guarantees ahead of a mutual release. This surprises no one. Dalvin Cook has been not part of the game plan. Breece Hall all of a sudden has 70 receptions on the year. Hello. He's the RB4 on your season, which is pretty impressive considering he hasn't really done it a ton with the rushing metrics. So this doesn't shock me at all. Does anyone pick up Dalvin Cook, James?
Absolutely not.
No.
I think the juice is run dry.
I mean, no.
Like, who would be the option? The 49ers, maybe if CMC is actually really hurt.
He's fine. It's the same calf that he strained like 4 times this year. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe the Houston Texans?
No.
I don't think he signs with anybody.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I agree.
I don't think he does either, though.
Yeah. The good news for the Los Angeles Rams, though, is head coach Sean McVay says he'll continue coaching the team in 2024. There were rumors last year that he may retire or quit and go into broadcasting, but decided to come back. Obviously, the Rams having a playoff caliber season and gaining a ton of momentum going into the playoffs. McVay is only 37 years old. He's still the youngest coach in the league, which is wild. He confirmed on the team's website this week that he'll be back on the sidelines for the 2024 campaign, his 8th with the team. He's been a coach since he was 30. That's wild to me.
I mean, he's done such a good job with this team that like the trajectory for this team is only up.
The Les Snead, Sean McVay combo with the GM and the coach.
Great.
It's been very, very good.
They're hitting on 4th, 5th round picks.
The
Kyron
offensive
Williams,
line that was
Luka
trash last year is actually
now,
good.
Like elite. Like it's really good. The run blocking for
the
this
defense
line
isn't
is good.
shabby.
And the funny thing is there's no big name guys on this offensive line. They're guys they took in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. And these are guys that, could make Pro Bowls. These guys are paving the way for a 5th round pick in Kyron Williams, who we did say has some talent, but like
no one saw this.
Nobody saw this. So like good on them.
Except for James.
I think McVay has done. He's got to be top 3 in Coach of the Year.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I agree with that. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin said Mason Rudolph will start in Week 18 against the Ravens. Tomlin said Kenny Pickett itself isn't a question. He just said that Kenny Pickett is not good. The team will ride with Rudolph all the way into Christmas night in a must-win game for the Steelers. The Steelers, once again, not going to finish with a losing record. They are the most mediocre franchise of the last 6 years because all they do is finish at 9-7, 8-8, 9-8. Like, cool. You're not going anywhere. They're stuck in the middle. Tomlin, I think, is a good coach. This team
finally found an identity, I think, the past 3 games.
Rudolph's been good.
Throw deep to Pickens. Let Warren and Najee run the crap out of the ball. And let Deontay not be the focal point. I'm sorry, but give that to Pickens. Pickens is an elite talent. Give him those opportunities because he will do well with them. So,
no, 100%.
I think the past what they've been doing the past couple games is what we should hopefully see. And if you have Rudolph, there's a slim chance he could be the starter for 2024. Like a lot of these quarterbacks, Joe Flacco could find a job. Rudolph, like if you have these guys on Superflex, hang on to them because there's a chance they could be starter.
If 2023 has taught us anything,
it's
roster whatever quarterback in Superflex leagues because you never know who's going to start and get you points.
Canadian Football League, look for the MVP and see.
Isn't that kid on the Patriots roster now? He was in the CFL. What's his name? He was bounced around. He was with Jacksonville before. I forget what his name is though. The Patriots have gone through like 18 quarterbacks. I feel this year.
But Zappy's it, right?
PJ Walker.
No, it's a younger guy.
Oh, okay.
Zap interception.
Yeah, he's great. Before we move on to the New Year's resolutions, I did want to get a shout out to our longest sponsor, and this is the most important time of the year for Trophy Smack. Why? Because the regular season just ended. We've crowned our champions. It is time to reward them appropriately with a belt, a trophy, not only for fantasy football. They've got hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer, and everything's customizable. So you can do it however you want based on your league. If you run a comic book league and the Punisher didn't win, but Deadpool did, like you can make a Deadpool belt and give it to the champion. Like he's deserving.
That would be pretty cool.
He's deserving of the championship. You can customize it. Chef has his Swedish Chef belt that he has.
It's back there somewhere. My name tag is blocking it.
Yeah.
You need to definitely put that up.
You can use code DHHRing and get a free $60 championship ring with the purchase of a trophy or a belt. They also have stuff for all the losers of your league. So for every winner, there's also a loser, and we all like fun punishments for the losing team. Maybe you get snapped out of existence and you have to pick a new team name in leagues. Always fun. So check that out. TrophySmack.com, DHH ring. Save $60 on a free championship ring value thing. It's all good. All right, let's get on to these New Year weather woofing. I'll have you guys start because I am not prepared tonight. I literally came home 10 minutes before the podcast and was like, let's roll with this. I'm just going off the cuff. I'm going to let you guys kick us off.
You're going to start, Tyler?
I'm going to start. Go out and get yourself Drake London. That's what I'm going to do. I might actually try for the full 100% rostership of Drake London if I can. Because if this team, which all signs point, get a new quarterback, Drake London will take the next step. Like, we see this, and Doug and I, we made a trade. I traded Jalen Waddle for Drake London. I gave up a couple extra pieces. But for me, like, Waddle's a great high-end wide receiver, too. London has the upside of a top 8 wide receiver in the league. He just needs quality targets. So, for me, it's go out and get Drake London.
All right. Well, I'll pour some sugar on that, Tyler, and I'll stick with the Atlanta Falcons. All right. And I have Drake London mentioned in here. It says for him to get a quarterback. All right. And I'm going against everything I said with my love for Desmond Ridder on this, and I'll fess up to it.
He's bad.
It didn't work out. All right. But what else didn't work out in Atlanta is Arthur Smith, man. He's killing fantasy production.
One more game. They just need to lose one more.
I mean, if Bijan Robinson was just fed the ball, I mean, if just give him the ball, it's heartbreaking. I lost a fantasy final with Bijan Robinson as one of my starting quarterbacks. I had Kyron Williams as well, and it just hurt. It hurts. If we spent a first 101 on Bijan Robinson, which people were doing even in Superflex leagues, like Are you happy? No, I'm not. And for that reason, my New Year's resolution is to not draft a running back 101 ever again. I'm
Well-
sorry. It's not worth it.
Well, the good news is you won't have to worry about it in 2024 because I'll be surprised if a running back goes in the first round. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes it easier with the draft class.
So
Yeah.
there's probably 3 running backs in Dynasty that you can feel comfortable having on your roster. It's Bijan, Brees Hall, and Christian McCaffrey. Like, those
what
are the
about Jameer?
3.
What about Jameer Gibbs?
Oh yeah, Gibbs. Like those.
And we lost Tyler.
But
Oh, there he's back.
Other than those 4, I don't think so.
So I'll add on the Drake London. So in a year where he had very spotty quarterback play, once again, still had 65 receptions, over 100 targets, 800 yards receiving, only 2 touchdowns. Drake London, if, like you said, if they get a quarterback in there, look out. It's going to be nice. I'll give you my New Year's resolution. It sounds like we're talking like maybe some buys. There's a player that I don't roster anywhere. I'm in a ton of dynasty leagues. I don't have Tajay Spears anywhere. And I was watching a video podcast, whatever you want to call that, earlier today, and they made a comparison that actually made a ton of sense. They compared Tajay Spears to Rashad White. Think about Rashad White, last year's rookie year. He was sharing the backfield with somebody. Now he has the backfield all to himself, and he's running back, 5 on the season, give or take.
Yeah.
Catching balls out of the backfield exceeded everyone's expectations, especially Tyler's because he didn't like him. But Tajay Spears got that juice. Derrick Henry, he's not going to be back there next year. There's no way.
Vrabel might not even be.
Right. So for me, if you can go out and acquire Tajay Spears right now, he could have a potential top 10 payoff like Rashad White did this year. So if you're looking ahead, because I don't want to invest heavily into running backs. If there's anything that I've learned this year, it's don't trade for running backs. It's to roster running. Look at the end of the year. How many running backs? Ty Chandler, Zamir White, like a lot of these guys that were backups running backs. If you rostered Jerome Ford earlier in the year, like there's just a ton of examples of this.
Jalen
Ezekiel
Warren.
Elliott, like
Kyron Williams is the prime.
Kyron
Kyron
Williams
Williams
is the number 1, yeah.
if you target in trades, maybe even as throw-ins, backup running backs, handcuff running backs, there's a chance that you can start them. Say it's a league, you only have to start 2 running backs. You can start a Chuba Hubbard and a Devin Singletary down the stretch. And if you have a solid team around that, you're fine. Like you don't have to go out and overpay for Bijan or Jameer Gibbs or CMC. They're nice to have, but think about what you have to give up for them versus what do you have to give up for a backup that could eventually escalate on your roster. I have a roster where I had Kyron Williams, Zamir White, and one other running back, and they were all starters for me. Obviously, Kyron earlier than the others.
Devon H.
Khalil Herbert, that was another one. Khalil Herbert, low-key league winner, by the way. Like the last 2 weeks he performed awesome when you needed him in the fantasy football playoffs. So for me, it's take these running backs, keep them on the bottom of your roster because with running backs, you just never know. So that's my little side bit.
And Taylor in the chat says, "Hey, beautiful, you get to guess who I'm talking about," and obviously that is Doug.
No, I thought it was the ginger locks.
Is that Zach Wilson? Who is that? Is that Taylor or Zach Wilson?
No, that's Matt Damon.
It's Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
No, I like the opportunity that Tajay Spears brings to the table. Whether or not, I don't believe it will be a full workload. Like you mentioned, Vrabel possibly leaving there. Maybe the offense changes entirely and they bring in another back to pair with.
They
Tajay
draft one in
Spears.
like the 3rd round. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure it's going to happen. And there's some changes that need to be made there. There's some older pieces, Hopkins, to be added into that group. And I think you're right. I think it works out well.
I just think Spears, like a guy like White, there was question marks with White when they had Tucker, they had all these other guys. White just went out and was the best running back and won the job. Yeah. I could see Spears doing the same exact thing.
Maybe we target backfields with old running backs.
Yeah,
and pick up their backups.
Steelers.
Kind of like what we do with quarterbacks in a super flex league.
Yeah, it's been a very eye-opening season, and for me, that has told me that start picking up every tight end as well.
Just fill your roster, pick up every player, every
You
position.
know what? Let's just say it.
Oh, who's tight end one this year?
Let's listen to Doug. Let's just listen to Doug.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was going to write that down for my New Year's resolution.
So I got two done.
The tight end whisperer.
My third, because I'm stuffed up like crazy. I'm just gonna get it out while I can talk. My running back evaluation for this rookie class, I am going to stick by my own evaluation because it's going to be tight. It's not going to be elite, but there's going to be like
value.
4 or 5.
There's going to be value.
Like 4 or 5 that come out of this class, like a Keaton Mitchell style, where you're going to watch the tape and be like, wow, I really like this guy. And there's a chance he hits. So stick to your evaluation on running backs at least, because this class is deep, but yet it's not, like it was last year.
As the kids would say, it's mid.
Yes. But there will be players, like there's going to be an RB2 in this class where you're like, oh, I'm so glad I got him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I see this class as if you have 2nd round picks, it's going to be the sweet spot for running backs. Because it's going to be quarterback and wide receiver 1st round with Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
100%.
Who just declared.
Yes, he's coming out. James, what do you got?
I mean, I'll add to that. I have stopped the draft capital hype. More and more combine standouts becoming fantasy all-stars. If you think about it, Amon-Ra St. Brown smashed. Pacheco, Puka Nacua. Kyron Williams didn't have a good combine, so I don't have him in this list.
Yeah, he was like the slowest man on earth.
Correct. He had a terrible combine. And, oh wow,
it was bad.
Yeah, but I don't judge everything by the combine either. It's a combination of both. But like, really, where does the draft capital stop mattering? It doesn't. We have players like Brock Purdy now that come in Mr. Irrelevant and are top quarterbacks for fantasy.
You know what I think it's been beaten over the head is wide receiver draft capital, because look how many 2nd round wide receivers have absolutely crapped their pants. Sky Moore, Tyquan Thornton. Like there has been
we can do
hits.
1st round. Jalen Reagor, what's that guy's name? Quentin Johnston.
Your boy Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs. No, we can't say Henry Ruggs. Well, I mean, he kind of crapped out before he crapped
2
out
2 months ago, so why can't we?
That's a callback in the business.
Yeah, fair.
So
fair.
I have one question about Purdy, because he's a very interesting dynasty subject.
Mm-hmm.
I had been juggling the idea of trading Kyler Murray, who, if he gets Marvin Harrison, has elite upside, for Brock Purdy. Which one would you rather have? Like, 1 for 1. Kyler has scored like 20 points by throwing 1 touchdown, it seems, every week.
I look at it as the Arizona Cardinals are finally committed. I mean, we just read it in the news. Shout out azcardinals.com /.gov. /gov. But I really do think that they're trying to build something there in Arizona. They were better than what we expected them to be coming out this season.
They're fun to watch.
They're fun to watch. I mean, they have some aging pieces. James Conner's getting up there in age for running back.
Still damn good, though.
Marquise Brown, I don't think he makes it. Like, I don't know where he's at with his contract, but
he's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, they need to resign him for really cheap, because he's a good 2, and they need Marv.
I
don't
mean,
care what you
they're
gotta do,
probably
trade up.
going to get Marv. I mean, it makes the most sense.
Or Neighbors.
I mean, either way, I think they walk out of the draft with a good receiver and another weapon. Like they're going to start building around, just like the Lions did with Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then they they had Hawkinson. They were like, oh no, we need to. The same thing with Ertz and McBride. Ertz is aging out. They're like, all right, we can get something for Hawkinson. We bring in Laporta, and boom.
And they didn't have to pay $20 million.
The nice young supporting
Trey
cast.
McBride, tight end 1, 2, or 3.
I'm sorry, what?
Trey McBride, tight end 1, 2, or 3. What are you picking?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, my gut says 3.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Who'd be ahead?
Laporta.
And
Oh, yeah.
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson. Okay.
Kincaid's right there too, I think.
Kincaid's below. I have McBride a little bit higher than Kincaid.
I might have McBride at 2.
It's. I mean, TJ Hawkinson just
Right,
suffered
Doug?
we didn't have it in the news. It's old news at this
And
point.
you could have gotten McBride for a song. Same thing with Cole Kmet a couple years ago. Like the first tight end drafted, they're drafted as the first tight end for a reason. Now, again, sometimes they don't hit or it just takes some time. It took
7
some time
years
for
to
Cole
blossom
Kmet.
into a.
It took a
David
little bit of time for
Njoku.
McBride. This is the year with a rookie tight end. We
Yeah.
see Laporta as the tight end 1. We saw Musgrave flash. We see Kincaid be productive. Like even Tucker Kraft.
Mayer.
Like
Mike or Mayer even.
Mayer, this is the year that changes the position in Dynasty. And you got Brock Bowers coming in.
Yep.
So like this window of 3 years of the McBrides, Laportas, Kincaids, Mayers, Bowers, Kelsey, bye-bye. Andrews slipping. Hawkinson, he's still up there because he led all
Just
tight
the
ends
injury.
in targets and everything.
Yeah, he got the injury late
Sure. But his metrics are great this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to me,
with
and
changes in quarterback.
I actually had
Multiple.
this conversation with my brother-in-law because we were going back and forth about tight ends, and he's like, "Oh, it takes years. I don't invest in tight ends." I'm like, "This is going to be different." I'm like, "This year is going to be different," and we debated on it for like 20 minutes. So at the end of this, I was just talking to him earlier today, and we were talking about tight ends, and he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "You nailed that," and I go, I don't know what it is about me, but tight ends is like it's my thing."
David Njoku. There's another like cheap buy you could probably get because if they are
Not
showing
anymore.
anything, it's past the Njoku, Cooper, and run the ball. Nick Chubb, he should be back. I would not be shocked if Nick Chubb comes back and is like the same person because it's Nick Chubb.
I mean, if we're gonna go out there and name some tight ends that we would buy, I'm gonna put Chigakonkwo out there. I mean,
Yeah,
he
new
seemed pretty
offense.
comfortable with Levis. If there is a new change in the offense,
He started gaining some steam in the last few weeks.
I think he can bring it up.
Chig's my guy.
And
Here's the thing.
he's a cheap ad.
The bottom line with tight end is chase the athleticism.
Yeah.
It's got me to George Kittle. It's got me to Dawson Knox. Like you can laugh, he might be sharing time with Kincaid, but Dawson Knox was the tight end 1 last year. If you chase Chigakonkwo, same thing. The athleticism with tight end matters so much.
Buy Kyle Pitts now.
Kyle Pitts might be the biggest buy.
Yeah. I'm
And
looking
it's
at
all-
him.
And it's all if Arthur Smith is gone.
Yep.
And honestly, Pitts could be a trade package part for them to move up to get a quarterback. So like the Patriots, say the Patriots are like, "Oh, we'll trade back and take Daniels at 8." Like they could get Pitts.
If the Pats win, they could slip all the way to 9. I would die.
Yeah.
Just lose.
That means the
Jets,
Giants would
stay in
move
the
up
top
to
5.
like
Ugh,
3.
I don't want
That
to
would
talk
be
about
awesome.
it. It's going to happen. I don't want to talk about it.
Arizona needs to win one more game, and the Giants slip all the way up to like
It's
2.
going to
like
be a fun
2 or 3.
It's going to be a fun NFL draft because there's a legit chance there's not a defensive player taken until 8, 9, or 10. And it's the edge from Alabama.
Yeah, because this offensive line, quarterback, wide receiver class is all
Yep.
very good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that'll be wild. What else we got, gentlemen?
Go ahead, James.
Don't be so quick to cut potential talent. Stay true to my notes.
He's talking to me.
Late pop-ups like Kyron Williams can pay off if you're patient.
I'm the worst at this, by the way. UDPL, I have cut so many players that have turned out to be decent. It's like,
I traded Harrison Bryant to you, then you cut him, then I picked him up because he's a free agent at the end of the year, and you just never know.
So Dontavian Wicks, the wide receiver for Green Bay, I cut him week 2 because I'm like, I have an injured reserve spot. I need to bring somebody up. Yeah, idiot. Don't do that. I actually liked Wicks and his position in this Packers offense because I don't like any of the receivers. Like, I was wrong on Jade Reed. I'll admit that. But other than him,
I
there's
took
really
a chance
nobody.
on Reed. Paid
Like
off.
Wicks
I like
could be
Reed.
the 2 because
Yeah.
Reed is obviously the one.
Dobbs is inconsistent.
Yep. And
Watson's always hurt.
Watson has no hamstrings or
Wicks
knees.
Wicks perception metrics are solid too. Like he's not just like he's just happened to be having a couple decent games. His metrics are solid. So I think Wicks could definitely be a thing. I was lucky enough. I put a waiver in for him. This is a 50-man roster home dynasty league. For some reason, he wasn't rostered. So I picked him up and put 5 contract years on him, and we'll see what happens. But those are the kind of moves that, like, if they work out, got him at a league minimum salary for 5 years. Yeah, thanks.
Use your taxi spots, all of them.
All
it
of
doesn't
them.
matter. Always use them. I'm in a league with Doug where somebody does not use their taxi squad. It's
they have like one
me.
person on their taxi, not
like
even
1, 2, or 3.
It's stupid. It's bad
dumb.
process.
Yep.
You take all the shots. Like Jaleel McLaughlin was a perfect guy for me. I picked him up and put him on my taxi.
Yeah, Trey Tucker from LA.
Mm-hmm.
Or the LV. Vegas.
LV, yeah. Love.
Lav.
Hang that in the love.
So, another one of my resolutions. I did this once. It hurt my soul. But don't overvalue players that you actually love in real life. Justin Herbert, he could be Phillip Rivers. He could have a season where it's like, holy shit, Justin Herbert just had a quarterback 1 season. But if you could tear down and get plus like I did in the Lister League, if I could tear down, I got Brock Purdy and Jonathan Taylor for Justin Herbert to take me to the championship. Like, I was able to do that. It sucks. It hurt my soul because I love Herbert, but it had to be done. And looking at that trade, I'm going to start looking at other leagues where I could maybe tear down, especially at quarterback, and be like, can I drop a tier from Herbert and get a Purdy or get a Dak?
I was actually having a similar train of thought. I was looking at one of my rosters and I have Brandon Ayuk, and I really like Michael Pittman going forward. So I'm like, could I tier down from Ayuk to Pittman and get Pittman plus?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit extra.
Maybe a little bit, right? Not a ton, but
maybe not a ton.
Maybe get a player that I like with some upside that could hit. Like, those are the kind of moves that, like, and Ayuk's my wide receiver 3 in this league. So, like, replacing him with Pittman is pretty even to me because I think Pittman's touchdown regression will improve next year. And get an extra piece or some cash or something like that. That is a savvy move. It takes a little bit. It sucks to do it because it feels risky, but if it pays off, like, look what you did, Tyler. Brock Purdy's been a top 5 quarterback this season, and you got Jonathan Taylor, who's still a top 5 dynasty running back.
Who got paid. So
he's going to be back.
It's all about finding the buy or sell point and pulling the trigger when the value is right, and you can see when you can.
I'll pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, ROI, buddy, ROI. We got to have that
pull
return.
The trigger on the trade, and then weeks later, I might pull the trigger on myself.
No. Calm down.
No, I'm talking about the bad trade, but also another thing, Doug and I talked about this, but if you don't have a second quarterback, you might be okay. So in Superflex, I have thought about this. If you don't, like, if it's a 6 point per passing touchdown, different story. But if it's 4 point, which is normal scoring, and if it's like just normal scoring all around, I have a tight end premium league where I started 3 tight ends. I started Hawkinson, Njoku, thanks Doug, and Cole Kmet. And they scored 20 plus points for like 3 weeks straight. And
we have 3 top 10 tight ends on the season.
That in itself was better than starting guys like just average quarterbacks that you were like Nick Bullens. People are like, oh, I'm going to slide Bullens in. Like, I get he threw for like 400 yards, but.
Or Josh Dobbs, and then he implodes.
Or Dobbs or Jimmy Garoppolo. Like,
Easton Stick, he'll save me.
Look elsewhere.
Jarrett
look at your
Stidham.
Receivers.
He wasn't that bad.
No.
Like, look at your receivers. Maybe instead of trading for a quarterback, trade for a receiver that has long-term, quote unquote financial stability for your team.
Until Olave craps in the
one of the leagues that we're in, Tyler, I've finished top 3 the last 2 years, and maybe a second quarterback would put me over the top. I don't know, but I've been literally running with Tua Tagovailoa as my only quarterback starter until I picked up Mason Rudolph a few weeks ago. And I was number 1 in the league for most of the season. I slipped into second, and my roster is outside of Tua. I'm stacked. I've got Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor. Like, I've got a really deep roster of players. And if you build a roster that way, when we did the startup, I purposely did it that way. And I didn't overpay for quarterback. And I took all the value from wide receiver and running back when it was presented to me. And I've been able to build a successful, now I haven't won the championship, but I've been able to build a successful team 2 years running with that model. So you're definitely onto something. If you have, for me, it's when you build a team, you want to roster as much depth as possible. If there's anything I learned watching rosters this year, especially in some of my home leagues, is like people would make trades and then they would leave themselves shorthanded. If you get one injury, you are screwed. Like, you have to have some depth on your rosters. If you're given 30 roster spots, use all of them. If you're given 5 IR spots, use them. Taxi, we just talked about that. Use them. Because the way fantasy football is now, guys are going to come out of nowhere and be starters with the way the injuries are and everything else going on. Is that if you have a depth of players, that is going to be one of the things that helps you above your competition. Because I've seen a lot of rosters where they have players that they have no upside. They're not even starting. Like, after the rookie draft, they should have been more aggressive when it came to picking up free agent rookies, because those are lottery tickets. They're free. Pick up your Demario Douglases, pick up your Puka Nakuas that maybe didn't get drafted in your leagues. But like, those are guys that are out there that can be Dontavian Wicks, Tucker Kraft. Like, there's a ton of guys out there that have been contributors this season, and having them available to replace other players that get hurt. I mean, I have rosters where I had like 6 or 7 guys on IR that were good players that I was normally relying on. So for me, it's build that depth. It should be difficult for you to cut roster spots.
Yep.
If it's easy, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah. Going back, another thing I need to do is, if I have a guy I like Puka, this happened in a league. Somebody in the free agent, because he did not get drafted, we were bidding. He hit $10. No, it was $8. And I thought to myself, that's too much. And I really wanted to go higher. And right now, I am still punching myself in the nuts because I did not go as high as my heart wanted to tell me. I legit was like, I could go 15 on Puka, but I just don't know if I can. And this is a $200 budget, and it's a free agent auction. And I'm like, I don't know.
It's easy to look back on it and kick yourself. But
like, even at that time, I thought to myself, I love Puka. I should do this, and I didn't.
You did it in bar tab.
I don't think putting a price on your, you put a price on your conviction and it bit you in the ass. It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. And what was I gonna say? There's one more thing I was gonna go on, but I'll give it to what do you guys?
I'll take it and run with it. How about some New Year's wishes? One for your team and one for your fantasy team. And I'll lead off, being a Giants fan that I am.
We all want a quarterback, right?
Yeah, Daniel Jones gone, and we draft a quarterback, either May, Knicks. I mean, we should be in the top 5.
You have to pick one.
Yeah.
Who do you want?
I'm not there yet, and I'm not gonna.
Your wish won't come true.
No. You know, it's
Doug,
okay.
what quarterback do you want for your Patriots?
Drake May feels like the most Patriot of all of them.
100%.
But here's what I want. I want electricity and I want excitement at the quarterback position. So give me Jaden Daniels. Like, I want someone that's fun to watch. I'm sick of Mac Jones. I'm sick of Bailey's. I'm sick of late career Tom Brady before he resurged in Tampa.
You mean full-out pocket quarterback?
I want exciting players. And here's the thing. I think if the Patriots, say they end up picking 4th or 5th, they have to take a quarterback. There's no bones about that. I don't think they're going to trade for anybody. I don't think they're going to go with a bridge free agent quarterback. They draft Daniels. They trade back up into the first round because they're going to be at the top of the second. Trade back up into the first round. Take a receiver to go with them and have fun. That's what I want them to do. I don't want them to do we're going to trade back and get a bunch of picks and kick the can down the road, because this franchise, like, I'm a Patriots fan through and through. I'll be with them when they're good. I'll be with them when they're bad. But everyone here is pissed off that this team is not competitive, and they need to bring some juice to the franchise. If they go and draft an offensive lineman in the top 5, it'll be bad.
It's gonna happen.
Or if they trade down and they don't get a quarterback and they trade down to get an offensive lineman, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
They
So
need
what
to
if
do
they
something
trade
to
for
excite.
Fields?
They just need to do something to excite the fan base. Here's the thing. I don't think they trade for Fields because you're going to have to pay him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get $20 million a year.
Oh, more than that.
So take the rookie quarterback for 5 years.
I mean, Daniel Jones got a lot of money.
So for me, I want Jade Daniels. If Atlanta trades up for Caleb Williams, okay, fine. I love Drake May. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in this class. So that's actually my choice. I want the safety. I want the Herbert-style quarterback that just hands the ball off to Bijan, doesn't take any carries away from him, can get the ball to Pitts. London has a big arm. Give me Drake May.
All right. And my fantasy football wish is for Aaron Rodgers to play a full season. For all
Garrett
my Garrett
Wilson's
Wilson shares.
I agree with that. They'd be wild if they draft Neighbors.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it. Or they'll probably
QB.
draft a lineman, though.
My neighbors.
That would be sick. I would love that. My fantasy. Tyler, if you got one, go ahead and come back to me.
I'm gonna have to go. Kyle Pitts rises up from the ashes and becomes a top 5 tight end again.
Dude, it's not a hot takes episode.
That's my wish. I thought we were a little rascally. Like that. How about just Atlanta's offense show something?
They just get a quarterback and things work.
No. Arthur Smith is gone.
I'll save.
I
mean, you save every fantasy footballer.
Yes, that's actually my fantasy football.
I love
wish.
it.
Arthur Smith is gone.
I'm trying to think of one.
Let's ship him with FedEx.
Oh man, he's so terrible. So absolutely terrible.
I'm still thinking.
Kirk Cousins to Minnesota just stays. So Justin Jefferson can live again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
They may do it.
I can't think of anything right now. There's a lot. I'm trying to think of like players that I'm invested in that I would love to see good things happen to, but like,
you know what my long-term wish is? Running backs to make a comeback like early 2000s.
Like the Sean Alexander, Priest Holmes
Adrian
era,
Peterson.
LT.
Yes. Yep.
I think that. Well, the league is pretty cyclical.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's just so much talent at the pass catcher position. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I would say with running backs this year, and another way that I'm going to approach it is that with this being a mid-draft class at running back, I don't think it's terrible to attack the running back position. If you're looking at like running back 13 through 20, like startup ADP, I think that's where I would going to go. I wouldn't want to go all the way to the top and overpay, but give me somewhere in the middle with a guy like, like a Rashad White, who's probably back end RB1. He's probably RB10 nowadays, or guys like that. Because I don't think you have to pay crazy money for them, but I think they'll be productive. Or even go a tier down, like would be fine too. If you're going with an older guy, like you can, I feel like you can get them super cheap because everyone's in the same group think around like
Jaylen Warren, Tajay Spears, like those are the guys I want to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and go for all the tight ends.
Zach Charbonnet.
Man, okay. Let's do a top 5 Superflex rankings. Like draft. Doug, go. 101. This will be the last thing we do. Superflex.
Goodness.
We're going to do top 5. Like you get first pick. Or we'll do top 6. First pick. Go, Doug.
Superflex?
Superflex. Tight end premium.
I'm not taking a quarterback. Just give me Jefferson.
No, I'm talking rookies.
Oh, rookies for this year.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Nope, not doing it.
Superflex? Give me Marv.
Marv? Okay.
All right.
I'll take 2. I'll go Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean that would have been my pick, but I haven't started yet, and I stay true to my game. But I'll go with May. You know, you're labeling quarterbacks out there. It's gonna be May.
All right, Doug, go.
Neighbors.
I'm gonna go Daniels.
And I'm screwed. I don't have an answer.
No, Brock Bowers is the answer. That's the answer. There's a top 6 again this year.
Yeah, it really is.
There's an elite 6 this year. Just like
although I feel that
year.
someone somehow will break. There's going to be like the Devin Achane, that like no one's really super talking about, and then he has a great workout, goes to a good spot, and then all of a sudden he's a late first rounder? That's going to happen. That always does.
So my one player I will draft everywhere, who's my Corey Clevet, Blake Corum. I've loved him for like 3 years. He's got tiny T-Rex arms, but he is a stout, powerful man.
I can tell you right now, my guy, I think his first name is Xavier Leggett.
Yeah.
Love his game. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up because I really like his game.
Also, Xavier Worthy, I think it is, from
Texas.
He just declared.
Okay.
The speedster.
He'll be a first-round pick because speed.
Yeah. He's another Hollywood Brown.
I typically stay far away from the speed guys.
Yeah. I've learned that one.
Their hit rate, not great.
All right. We good?
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty solid. Let me hold on. I'm checking something. Oh, we do need to give a shout out to Manscaped. Weren't you talking about something about Manscaped before I jumped on?
No, we're talking about the greatness and how it starts and ends. How it starts at the bottom, it comes up from the top.
Fair enough. Well, the good news is you can trim all that grayness with manscaped.com. Use their newest lawnmower products. They're awesome. You've got cleanser, you've got washer. You're going to smell good. You're going to feel good to the touch. You might even taste good if you're into that kind of thing. All the things with manscaped.com. Use code DHH. Save 20% off. You're going to get a welcome kit. It's awesome packaging. It's an awesome product. Best in the business. Manscaped.com. 20% off. Code DHH. Let's go. Shout out to Dynasty Nerds, by the way, as well. Doing great things.
The season.
Yeah, get addicted to their GM tool on their app because it is the season to do that.
Yeah, what else do they have available on there, Tyler, through Dynasty Nerds?
Lots of film.
Film watch.
We like film.
Dynasty film room or rookie film room. Yep.
Good time to start doing that.
That's how that's how I watch my film throughout the off season.
Yeah,
I do want to give a shout out before we go. A shout out to Jed Barson at Thin Pizza Crust, who won SFB 13.
Wow. Yeah.
And absolutely crushed it.
Yeah,
Let me give you his roster.
He was in Shane's division.
Lamar Jackson, Kyron Williams, Rashad White, Zay Flowers, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Sam Laporta, James Conner, Trey McBride, Easton Stick, cool, Justin Tucker. And he smashed. He won by almost 50 points.
That's
an absolute performance by Jed Barson at Thin Pizza Crust. So shout out to him. He beat 3,300 other teams. Think about that.
Original creator of Thin Pizza Crust, because how he got that Twitter profile, like that's, I mean,
you make a deal with the devil. You win SFB and you get Thin Pizza Crust as your handle.
Thin Pizza Crust is very good
on X. Well, okay. What's your favorite style of pizza? Go.
Oh, pan.
Ooh, I do like pan. Whenever I'm at Pizza Hut and they're like pan, I'm like
crispy crust bar pie.
I would say, but the best is when you got that like burnt when it's in the fire, whatever.
Wood fire.
Yeah, the wood fire.
We have a coal fired one around here too.
I do like a pan pizza. I don't like a deep dish style. It doesn't feel like pizza to me. Yeah, it's like pizza lasagna. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. I like the what's the close to the pan with Detroit style.
Detroit style, yeah.
Detroit style, I like a lot.
That's like similar to Sicilian.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I joined a Rhode Island pizza fans page. It's funny to see reviews and people talk about pizza. I'm just a fat kid at heart. What can I say?
I love
We're pizza snobs.
Good pizza.
I leftover pizza for dinner tonight. So call me. So, all right, that is going to wrap us up for the Dynasty Happy Hour. Thanks for joining us, talking some New Year's resolutions. It is the most exciting time of the year for us here at the Dynasty Happy Hour. The regular season's cool and all, but this is where the rubber meets the road. We're going to lead you to victory to draft those players that are going to make you into a champion. So stay tuned. We got a lot of exciting things going into this 2024 season. Before you know it, we're going to be talking declares, combine, draft. It's my favorite time of the year in the fantasy football space. I love playing and I love winning, but I love building my teams and I love drafting and trading in the offseason, and this is where it's at. For James, for Tyler, I'm your host, Doug. We'll be back next week on the Dynasty Happy Hour.